Talking about high hopes, the Colorado Rockies are 8-2, tied for their best start in franchise history. I will say the other best start was 2011, and they completely fell apart after that.
Mm-hmm.
But we're only playing 60 games. 8-2 through a sixth of the season, really good. If they were 2-8, we'd say the season was over.
Yeah.
So currently leading the National League West over the Dodgers, and it's really been come out of nowhere in a lot of ways where the improvements we needed to see from people have transpired. It's sort of the opposite of what happened last year where we said if you trust the Rockies and the way that they trust their guys, they should be good. That's happening at least through 10 games, 2 times through the pitching rotation with Marquez getting 3 starts and Chichi Gonzalez being decent as a 5th starter in his 1 start so far. It's really been propelled by the extra pitches that pitchers are throwing. Freeland and Senzatella have both found their curveballs and sliders in interesting ways where Freeland was throwing 4 pitches about equally and then also had his cutter coming in some of the time. And Senzatella had no movement for the last year and a half on his pitches, and that's come back at home. So it's been really quite a turnaround. And then you add on top of that the Rockies' veteran signing guys, Matt Kemp, Chris Owings, and Daniel Murphy have all been hitting for them.
Yeah, it is a small sample size, but get out of my face. We get to celebrate the National League West leaders right now.
I mean, this has to be one of their best stretches in late July, early August in franchise history. Like, if you just took that chunk,
Yeah,
historically terrible time for the Rockies.
absolutely. And so, like, I was listening to another podcast, and they were just talking about teams that, like, if they theoretically win the World Series, who deserve an asterisk? And they said the Rockies absolutely would deserve an asterisk. I'd take it if they're able to go that far. But it really is, like, if you look at the last 2 seasons, 2018, which was, like, Rocktober revisited, and then kind of sucked at the end there. And then last season, where they absolutely fell off. In these 10 games, you've seen the 2018 pitching the way that it was like, wow, the Rockies have finally gotten over that hump and actually having decent starting rotation. And then last season, where in parts of the season, the bats were finally like fully alive, where then the pitching fell off. So for this 10-game stretch so far, you've gotten to see both happening in great and kind of clutch ways, too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the games, it's just a few hits. Trevor Story has been really good, like MVP level with the way he's played. He had a couple errors in the first 2 games, and you were like, what's going on with Story? But his fielding is back up there. He's made some great plays. Nolan Arenado's fielding has been there, but just in the last couple days, he started hitting homers. So this has all happened without Arenado at his best. Blackman has found a rhythm. Their supporting cast has been pretty good. So where does it all fall apart? And it is, of course, the eternal Rockies' Achilles heel of the bullpen.
Yeah. And, like, to the credit of the bullpen so far, they've been surviving in great ways. The one collapse was when Wade Davis was tried out there, which I really wish I could like the dude, but
he was great a few years ago. He does not have the stuff to be, or the mentality. He's walking guys when he's closing, which has been the problem the last couple of years. You want your closer, like maybe your closer makes mistakes, but he can't compound, and that's been the problem. He's now on the disabled list, along with, unfortunately, the closer of the future, and we were hoping this year, Scott Oberg, who has blood clots again and is probably out for the year.
Well, that's really, like, the Rockies, in small credit to Jeff Bridich, we talk about the ways that he's, like, especially in terms of batters, like, has signed people, you're just like, ugh, what? Or not signing people, it's like, come on, please help the team. They've been willing to spend money on pitchers, especially rotational guys, namely like a Brian Shaw, a Wade Davis,
Jake McGee.
And unfortunately, all the people that they've spent money on have sucked, but like dudes who have been with the organization, like a Scott Oberg, a Kyle Freeland,
Jairo Diaz, who's looking good.
Yeah. All those like Scott Oberg at one point, he was just like a rotational guy, like behind Adam Ottavino, who I miss so much.
Adam Ottavino, who's still pitching well in New York.
Yeah, I really wish we had held on to him, but there's the bullpen has depth and value, so I think that's a definitely if the bullpen stops being as pretty decent as they have been, things can fall apart quickly. But like I want to be able to trust the process that this season, for whatever sport you're choosing to care about, is not the real thing. But if we're looking to next year, if Scott Ober can come back healthy, if we can keep the starting rotation together, especially Senzatella, Marquez, and Freeland, like, good job, Rockies. We might owe Jeff Bridich an apology 12 months from now.
I'm gonna hold out on that one. The other things that I think we just have to look out for is they have a very home-heavy schedule right now. They're going to go on the road for single series a couple times, but this is really the stretch. So
Yeah.
they need to stay hot here because we're always worried about those bats falling apart, and all of their Dodgers games are coming in the second half of the season, and they they really probably can't afford to lose all. I think 10 games against the Dodgers.
No, but it's okay to kind of accept that they're not going to stay this hot, and especially with the Dodgers and their pitching staff, we can't expect the Rockies to keep up. But I think the Rockies know that they like acknowledge the chip on their shoulder, the fact that they're not getting respect, and trust it. Like we have two possible MVP candidates in especially Story, and if Nolan turns it on, then like we've got a good team. This has been a good team, not just in like the ways that they've won, but the ways that they've persevered and like come back in games. So uh I don't think they're going to close this season out on top of the division, but I want them to make the Dodgers sweat, who have been like the heir apparents for so long.
And again, so the playoff format, the top two seeds in each division automatically get in. So that's really where you want to be. If you're the second best team in your division and of all the other second best teams, you're going to get technically a home series for that best of three first round.
Yeah.
So all the games would be played at Coors Field. You think better for the Rockies, although historically the last few times they've played a home game at Coors Field in the playoffs, they've lost.